What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
In Pennsylvania, an 18-year-old was fatally shot after meeting a Facebook marketplace seller to purchase a vehicle. A former Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher, say that 3 times fast, has been deported after he was accused of sexual abuse. And in Mississippi, a corrections officer goes missing without a trace. These stories and more coming at you today, Wednesday, December 13th, on Real Life Real Crime Daily, and I'm Jim Chapman.
I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino. 12 more shopping days, boys.
I took care of 2 of those shopping days yesterday, or 2 of those shopping items for my daughters, but I can't say what they are because they're not listening. But if they were, there's a small chance Wendy might be listening and maybe they're in the car.
Well, why the hell aren't the girls listening?
Well, they're not,
We need those numbers.
It's cringy to them.
I've forced 47 Italians in New York have to listen to every episode of this show. I mean, it helps.
You can use your Rosetta Stone.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
They actually speak English.
Well, they can use Rosetta Stone to learn
the Italians were forced to learn English when they came here.
Yep. I believe that's true. Hey, I want to give a shout out to my dad, who
also speaks English.
Lee Overton.
3 years old.
Wow.
Yesterday. And
how many years young?
83.
83. Man, I hope I make it to 83.
Papa Overton, happy birthday.
Yeah, so shout out, Dad.
The legend.
Did you guys go out and shoot something together to celebrate?
No. I took him to eat some oysters and stuff like that. And some of my brothers and sisters came in, and I let them have their time because they don't get as much access to him as I do.
Did you go back to that same oyster place in Natchez?
Always.
God dang it, I got to get
61.
there.
They need a sponsor, by the way. Even they just give us free food and beer.
Yeah.
Well, it's Tuesday as we tape the show for Wednesday. Anybody see Tommy Cutlets last night? Speaking of Italian sports heroes.
No, but I lost $50.
You bet against my Giants last night.
I did, and I thought about it when I lost.
I bet against my Giants.
All right.
Somehow we've won 3 games in a row. I don't really know.
It's ruining your draft pick.
As much as we love the Giants, shout out to Jaden Daniels from the LSU Tigers
for
winning the third Heisman Trophy for Louisiana
Billy
State
Cannon,
University.
Joe Burrow, and
is it only 3?
3.
There have been so many great players.
2 in my lifetime, and only a couple more have ever been up. The Honey, well, he wasn't with them then, but
all the great running backs.
Yep, but none of them have ever won it except for Burrow in my lifetime. Burrow and Daniels. That's right. And then of course Billy Cannon. Go listen to that episode on Bloody Angola.
Yeah, great episode.
He's an American.
He's legend. In good. He is in good company. Then you think he's going to be a great pro?
He needs to put on some weight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, we had Rohan Davey go number 1, and he was out for the Raiders, and he was out within a year. Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, what's his name? Bryce Young from Bama's getting tossed around. He's a little guy who's now was the first pick and is playing for Carolina. He's getting tossed around a lot. I know the listeners love when we do sports talk.
I know they don't.
Some of them.
Some of them do.
I had an interesting couple of flights that I wanted to share with Jim, because he's just catalogs all this information about what's going on in the sky.
Absolutely.
So on my flight to Palm Beach the other day, I'm sitting in the exit row, and a guy is coming up the aisle, and he's coming up the aisle like one row every 2 minutes. He's elderly and making his way as best he can, right? So he gets right up to the exit row and goes to try and pick his bag up off the ground. And I mean, he doesn't have the strength to pick his bag up off the ground. So I said, hey, let me get that for you. So I get it and I put it above. And then he asks me to let him in. So he's sitting in the exit row. I look at him and I go, I said, look, not that I think we have a chance in hell if there's a problem on this flight, but you going to be able to open that door in the case of an emergency? And he looks at me and goes, there's an emergency, we're fucked.
That's true.
That's right.
I go, all right,
That's my kind of guy.
You're right. Let's see if the flight attendant figures this out when she or he comes down the aisle. And he gave the yes, and they didn't think twice about it. So that was an interesting one. I hadn't seen that one before. And then on the way back, you know, sometimes you get on a flight and one of the flight attendants is standing in the exit row as people are boarding the flight. Well, this particular plane, the way they had it laid out, there was really only one exit row period on the plane because they had squeezed a couple of extra seats on the other side that really cut into the exit row legroom. And so she's literally standing in the best seat on the plane because this is a Southwest flight. So I walk up and I said, hey, I really want to sit where you're standing right now. And she says, okay, but I got to stand here through the boarding. So why don't you just sit in the passenger seat, in the middle seat, until I'm done giving instruction. I said, fine. These two twins come walking on to the flight that, you know, were a little bit large. And they come walking right up to where we are. And one says, can I have that, the window? Because I was, you know, it's sitting in the middle, but with the flight attendant there guarding the exit, the aisle. And so she goes to the window, and then her sister says, well, I want to sit back there too. And the flight attendant explains that she's holding the aisle seat for me. Why doesn't she just sit in the row in front until the flight attendant gets out of the way and then she can come in? Well, she didn't get that she didn't understand that it meant she was sitting in the middle seat in my row. She thought she was going to get right where the flight attendant was. So when the flight attendant leaves and says, okay, she just comes immediately and sits in the aisle. So now I'm in the middle seat.
Stuck in the middle.
Between, and basically each of these women required 1.25 seats. So I've got 0.5 seat in the middle when I had the best seat on the plane. And they're really funny. And so I said to the one, here's the deal. I'm fine with this so long as you guys promise you're not going to be talking the whole flight. If you're going to be talking the whole flight, then I want my original seat back. Mm-hmm. And the one on the aisle goes, well, we're not going to be talking this flight because I've had it with her shit. Oh. And I'm like, oh no. And the one on the window, well, I don't want to talk to you either. So I end up in this seat with the two of them going at it for, thank God it was only an hour and 15-minute flight. I don't know.
Hey, real quick, and to Real Life Real Crime, we had a listener who sent this message. I sent it to y'all this morning, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but she says, Woody, Jim, and Mike, talks about a story we're covering Real Life Real Crime Daily and how excited she was about it, et cetera. And she goes on, and I'm paraphrasing everything, to say that she loves the show, and Mile High Crimes is her favorite. Yeah, is our favorite section. And she says, thank you. And then P.S. Jim is a hottie. Oh,
yeah. Hey,
right?
He's not going to be able to focus the entire show now.
I got one more thing. I want to thank Rick Galster, who is with the Reclamation Project, I believe is how it's pronounced, is a nonprofit for sex trafficking. And he sent us a Grady Judd on a shelf.
Yeah, I saw that when I came in this morning. I was like, yes.
Awesome, Rick.
So Rick, we appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. And it is elfing on the shelving right there in the front of the studio, proudly guarding us. So thank you very much, sir. Now let's get into some
true crime time for Wednesday.
That's right. And an 18-year-old in Baltimore was shot and killed while deciding against a Facebook marketplace purchase. Marquise Harris, also 18, has been charged with first-degree murder and multiple handgun violations after detectives say he fatally shot the high school student whose name was Carlos Ricardo. Ricardo was found lying in the road with a gunshot wound to the head, and this was on November 26, shortly before 8 p.m. Harris was arrested a week later on December 2nd. Ricardo was a student at J.P. McCaskey High School who came to Pennsylvania from Cuba in 2022. The teen traveled 80 miles with a friend for a Facebook marketplace car deal. He decided against it after checking out the car and drove off, and then he got shot in the head. Jeez. He died at the Shock Trauma Center at the University of Maryland. Now, Ricardo's friend took the wheel of the car after Ricardo was shot by one of the multiple rounds fired and eventually crashed that vehicle while trying to seek help. The phone number of the victim was communicating with for the meetup was eventually tracked back to Harris. Ricardo's friend then identified Harris, and the suspect was arrested at his home where police found a handgun. Harris told police that he was selling the vehicle on Facebook Marketplace and that he heard gunshots after the sale was called off and entered his brother's car. He's reportedly due in court on January 3rd for a hearing. And look, Facebook Marketplace, a very popular, just really risen in popularity, I think primarily due to the fees. You don't have fees with it like you do eBay or Etsy. I don't know if Etsy has them, but I know eBay does.
Let me say this. That way before Facebook had the marketplace and everything, it was like Craigslist and Backpage and shit like that. We used to get crimes all the time. People would meet up and they'd rob them. So I would tell y'all, if you're going to do it, why not have the meeting in a police office, in a police department parking lot?
Yeah, or at least a public.
Right. Well, I mean, somewhere that you're going to be safe, and somewhere where, these bad guys are not going to do this. The smart ones aren't going to do it if you're doing it in front of a police department.
No, I wouldn't.
And actually, they used to have it, but I don't know if they still have them. They had made a parking spot in New Orleans and one of the precincts just for people to meet up and do trades and swaps. So because so many people were getting robbed. And unfortunately, this guy got killed.
Yeah.
So, sorry. No, so we think the motive was just he's pissed that the guy didn't buy the vehicle. I mean, that's such a.
Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, they hadn't really come up. That motive doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But he did. He ended up not wanting the vehicle, and he definitely got shot in the head. Yeah.
It could have been robbery too, because if he showed up with the cash for the vehicle,
that's true.
And I'm like, no, I don't want it. I'm like, bitch, you give me your money anyway.
And the shocking thing about this is this guy. Obviously, there's a record of everything. They tracked him by his phone number. Right, I mean, that's how they knew who. How stupid do you have to be?
Yeah, prisons are full of dummies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Well, and if it was a robbery, the friend who lived and drove off and identified Harris would have said it was they tried to rob us after we didn't buy. So I mean that's just it makes but look, so many things these days make no sense.
Hey, y'all correct me on this because I just read it briefly and we should have said it in the beginning because we have so many listeners all over the world and especially all over the United States. These tornadoes. You read about that?
Kentucky, Tennessee.
Right. And people died and everything, and the homes are destroyed. Look, we're no strangers to natural disasters here. I mean, my home's been destroyed and the floods and everything else and hurricanes. And worked every named storm for 20 years. These people's lives are destroyed. They're starting over with nothing. We pray for y'all. just it's sad, and especially when you lose loved ones and everything like
and
that.
Clarksville, Tennessee is big. It's right by Fort Campbell, and that's the city that was just really, really hit, and where the majority of the life loss was.
My prayers for them,
and isn't this not the time of year for this?
Yeah, it happens.
You don't really hear about it.
Usually
summer,
during the warmer months, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
All right, listen, I don't normally give a shit about baseball. All right, I know you guys do. Y'all can always name players.
No, from the Jim gives a shit about 1988 to 1994.
Fernando Valenzuela.
I do care about
knuckleball,
right?
Phil Negro.
I do care a lot about child predators, okay, and especially ones who get off or people come out later on and say it's a conspiracy theory. But I'm going to take you and tell you about Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher Felipe Vasquez, right? So earlier this month, he got deported to Venezuela, which is this part I don't understand either. But this is 2 years after he was convicted for statutory sexual assault, sexual abuse of children, and child porn and other charges in Pennsylvania, right? So ICE swung his ass on December 1st, and his real name, y'all, is Felipe Javier Riviero Blanco. And so they swing him back. And I get that, but why in the hell, after just 2 years, and you got all these charges, and when I tell you about them, they're freaking disturbing, y'all. Yeah. Now, this guy's famous, but they said that, his removal demonstrates the Philadelphia's commitment to protecting U.S. people from predators, regardless of public persona, blah, blah, blah. And they took him from Pennsylvania Department of Corrections and swung him back to his country. But he was a 2-time Major League Baseball All-Star, and he was sentenced to 2 to 4 years in prison in August 2021. But it included 2 years of probation. Well, you know what? You get 2 to 4 years, and then you got 2 years of probation. Why are you getting swung out of the country? Let's go back to how egregious this asshole was. He was initially charged in September 2019 with statutory sexual assault, unlawful contact with a minor, corruption of minors, and indecent assault of a person younger in connection with an alleged inappropriate relationship he had with a 13-year-old, y'all, in 2017, who had reached out to him on social media because, his famous picture, right? In November 2019, he was slammed with 21 additional charges after detectives said they found evidence of child porn on his phone and laptop in connection to the same case. Police found 7 photos and 3 videos Vasquez and the girl exchanged in which they both were in various stages of nudity. The graphic imagery was discovered on electronic devices, which were confiscated when he was arrested. So Vasquez, our bad guy, met the 13-year-old victim at a Pittsburgh's PNC Park. I guess that's their baseball stadium.
That's where they play.
And took pictures with her outside the bullpen. And the complaint revealed that at the time of his arrest, he told police he had sex, but not really, with the girl in 2017. She's fucking 13 years old. But during the trial, the prosecutor showed the jury the text message between the two in which Vasquez called the teen his slave. His slave. And fuck, man, that's just twisted. So he then faced more child porn charges in May of 2020 in Missouri, not in Pittsburgh, not in Pennsylvania this time. He sent a photo of himself masturbating to a 15-year-old Pennsylvania resident on July the 16th. That same night, he picked up a save in a game against the St. Louis Cardinals. Right, so he's jacking off to a 15-year-old and then goes out and gets his job done. And I don't.
Wait, so he was still playing in 2020?
Well, that's when he got his final conviction. But my point being is this: you've got this on child porn charges. Like if I send you, nude video, or say you're a kid and I send you a nude video of myself, that is automatically the least you can get is 2 years on where I sent it from and 2 years on where you received it at. So it's 2 separate charges just for me. But he did this, and he had sex with this kid. It was 13. He said, but not really.
Well, the disturbing thing here is I can understand not being deported before you're convicted.
Yeah.
Obviously, the disturbing thing here is 2 years after his conviction is the length of time it took them to deport him. And
that
should be within a week of a conviction.
I disagree with just a little bit on that. I think you need to serve your time here. He didn't get deported back to go serve time. He's free.
Yeah.
They say he got freed after a year. And then they deport him back, and he's supposed to be on probation or whatever. What the fuck? But it took him a year time frame from the time he did whatever it is he had to do for his conviction to get deported. Right, but the sentence should have been way harsher.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And he should still be rotting in prison. And they just deport him. And hey, what you think he's doing back in his home place? The same shit. I don't get it.
Well, and it's not like as a country we have some kind of special agreement with Venezuela and I don't understand this because it starts in 2017, but they don't actually. He was sentenced to 2 to 4 years in prison in August of 21.
Yeah, well, I mean, it takes a little while before you go to trial. And I'm sure he took the plea bargain 4 years, but then he's out in 2 years, and even though when he gets out, he's supposed to have 2 years probation, and they ship him back, and he's free.
Look, this guy was a major league pitcher. He had money. And
he had everything.
You can do anything in delay of 4 years if you got
That's
money.
the other thing that's wrong with this is this guy is up on, all of these charges and whatever teams it was, because it was a couple of teams. I mean, he kept getting paid and kept playing baseball while
multiple all-star, time all-star. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Whoever let that fucker go should be ashamed of themselves. And why don't you let him come spend the night with your fucking kids?
Whoever put him on the field and paid him however many millions of dollars he was making in those interim years, that is
13-year-old kid. That was one of them. Sex with her, but not really.
And so when something like that happens, we don't or can't exert pressure on the country we're sending him back to make sure he's in prison there's just nothing we can do.
He didn't catch a charge down there. The charges were in the United States.
He served his time in the United States.
And he's walking free. And somebody else is going to get raped.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Wow.
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts that spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of an LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill. And calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday host and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had.
Never heard of anything like that.
Me either. That's why I cover it and I don't give a shit about baseball.
Well, it's not a baseball story.
Man, I like to go drink beer and eat hot dogs.
Willie Stargell.
Yeah.
Thanks for dropping a bit more baseball knowledge on us, Jim. Let's go to Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh, go through there all the time.
Where 46-year-old Latasha Crump Coleman was reported missing by her family back on July 19th of 2023.
That's like
5 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's now been 5 months since she was last seen at her home. Latasha was a corrections officer in Jackson. Her one child, who's in his 30s, is named Dexter, and she was not married to the guy that is Dexter's father, and that man is not part of this story. She gets married later in May of 2013 to a man that she later became estranged from. That will play into this heavily. Dexter last spoke to his mother, that's the son, on July 17th. On Wednesday, July 19th, Dexter and the rest of the Crump family realized something was wrong. They had a great aunt pass away, who Latasha was very close with. And so Dexter was trying to get a hold of her. Because she's a corrections officer, I guess you can't have a phone, your mobile phone with you inside the jail. So when he called her job, they told him she was a no-call, no-show that day, which very, very unlike her, and he had been trying her home and not getting her. So he went to his mother's house. She wasn't home. He waited there for hours. She never returned. He noticed that her Apple Watch, which apparently was a prized possession of hers, was at the house, as were her 3 dogs, which she was a big dog lover.
Big warning sign.
So the family knew she would never leave the dogs unattended.
Right.
Her car was gone, and so was her purse. So the Crump family decided to call the police and report her missing. It was just after 7:45 p.m. on July 19th that they made that report. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigations issued a silver alert for Latasha and put out several Facebook posts regarding her disappearance. The Jackson police never uncovered any concrete information on Latasha's case. The family has basically been working the case on their own now for months, according to Dexter. Family members believe Latasha's case was swept under the rug. They say that they think it was because, or a contributing factor is that her disappearance happened at the exact time that the nation was paying attention to this Carly Russell story out of Alabama with the fake toddler on the side of the road. Right. It was a hoax, right? So they believe that Jackson police didn't take the case seriously because they thought it might be another hoax. The family believes the Russell case made it more difficult for Latasha's case to get the attention it deserves. Family members have come to suspect that Latasha's estranged husband, whose name is Derek Coleman, is the one behind her disappearance. She had obtained an order of protection against Derek in response to domestic violence allegations she had made. Latasha's brother, whose name is Cedric Crump, was the last person to speak to her live on the phone. Cedric says his last call with Latasha was strange and that he could hear another person making noise in the background. Didn't know who that person was. Derek Coleman had a court hearing on Thursday, this is the estranged husband, to appeal a 2022 conviction for violating a protective order of, a no contact order with his estranged wife. So Coleman was found to have violated the conditions of his bond, and his appeal was dismissed back to municipal court during that appearance. Latasha's family decided to attend the hearing and confront Coleman. We've got a link to a video. We'll put it on YouTube, but an all-out brawl breaks out in this courtroom after this hearing. And the court cameras are rolling, so we get the whole thing. The fighting began as the two families moved to the lobby of the courthouse. Brief words were exchanged between Cedric, the brother, and Derek Coleman, and then several women began throwing punches at each other. The brawl was initially broken up by the Hinds County Sheriff's deputies, but the second the groups got back out into a wider area entryway, the fight broke out again. In the end, 5 of them were arrested, all charged with disorderly conduct. One minor was injured in the fighting, but it's not life-threatening injuries. There were no reports of actual serious injuries in the hostilities. Jackson TV station WAPT reported the fight began because Latasha's relatives reacted angrily to the judge's ruling. They reportedly misunderstood his decision and thought that his use of the word dismissal meant that Coleman was going to be released. So while Crump's family insists Coleman had nothing to do, while Crump's family insists Coleman had something to do with Latasha's disappearance, he has not been charged in the case. Jackson Police Chief Joe Wade said Coleman is high on the radar of law enforcement. The FBI has been brought in as well to help in the case, but till 5 months later, no arrests, and really all they have is suspicion about the estranged husband. Crazy story. I
think that's the issue, is there's just no evidence of anything. You got to have something that we know.
I would tell you that what they're doing is pulling this guy's cell phone records, pinging the towers. A good investigation takes time, and especially when the body is still missing. Y'all continue calling your tips on Miss Barbara Blunt's case, right? Because you never know which one's going to break it. But you're only going to get one shot to crack this dude and hopefully bring the body home. And so I don't
never
believe,
found her car.
I don't believe that the cops are not taking it serious. I mean, obviously they're brought in the FBI, but they're gonna get this dude.
And I can tell you, when it comes to family members, these people are closest right to this case. And if that were my family member, I would be frustrated as hell that it's 5 months later and nobody knows anything. And so I get it 100%. I don't know that, the Carly Russell case had it. I don't think that played into it. I mean, what do I know?
What would play into it on that? That's what they know of at the time. But the deal being is she's a grown woman. Even though she left her dogs and everything behind, they were like, we'll give it 48 hours and we'll give it however long. And then we'll have to put somebody on it and start working it like that. And then eventually this guy, they go back in his history, the protective order and all that. So, yeah.
And she was also a corrections officer, and there's a lot of bad people in jail, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It could be anybody. And it may not be this guy, but somebody, they're going to, hopefully, let's pray that they find out and they don't have to wait 19 years like Courtney Coco's family.
But in cases like this, Woody, what are the stats? It's like X% are solved in the first 24, 48.
Right.
And after that, the odds shrink.
They go down. And the longer a case is cold, the lower the percentage you have a chance. Less than 1% of all cold cases ever get solved. And
it's still that low with DNA and everything.
And we've been blessed. I made my career in law enforcement, solving a lot of cold cases. But then we've been really blessed on Real Life Real Crime Original and solving two, getting the third one, getting the family what they wanted out of it. And of course, Miss Barbara Blunt's case is still open. But prayer for them, and I hope to get to bring her home. That's the main thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
We see so many cases where these street cameras and the license plate readers are key. I mean,
all that.
Well, I don't know what Jackson has, but if you basically know the date and you know she left home in her car with her purse, shouldn't you be able to follow her?
That takes time. Do you know how long it takes to go to every business, and even if they pass a truck weigh station? I mean, you have to have people put boots on the ground, go scour all these things, and pray that they get lucky.
And maybe they pull the license plate off of there.
Yeah, right. It's only been 5 months. That's not a long time, people. I mean, I did one that was 32 years old.
Yeah.
But
hearts go out to them
hopefully
family.
they'll get to bring it home.
Seems like a lifetime to them, I'm sure.
Right. Every day.
Yeah. So, Woody, I know the answer to this question already, but got any tattoos?
Yeah, I do. I have one on the inside of my wrist and one on my shoulder.
Mike?
Only one location.
Yeah, I got to talk about it. Exit only.
Yeah.
When
I don't believe Mike has a tattoo.
When I'm unhappy, it just says eat, and when I'm happy, it says eat at Joe's on Wednesday.
Yeah. That's funny. I thought he would have a tramp stamp.
Yeah, that's what he's got. Tramp stamp on the
back.
Always wanted one of those.
Remember the barbed wire around the bicep? Yeah. All right, so we're gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you a tattoo story. How about that turned into a crime? And a man who received, y'all ready for this? A Waffle House tattoo.
What? Nice.
That's right. A Waffle House.
What does that look like? Like just the logo?
Just the freaking logo of Waffle House, I guess, with the little red and yellow.
Yolanda Reeves has got the Real Life Real Crime tattoo on her shoulder. Yeah.
Well, this
Waffle House, that's out there.
That's out there. So a man who received that Waffle House tattoo from a Florida shop was taken to jail for failing to pay for it. That's right.
He dined and dashed on his tattoo. Yeah.
Max Krejnik of Clearwater, Florida, home of Hulk Hogan. For those of you,
wait, is that Hillsborough or Pinellas?
Hogan. Remember that? Was arrested on petty theft on December 2nd, and deputies were called to the Ink Gods, Godz, in St. Petersburg after Krejnik received a $250 tattoo, but when it was time to pay, he didn't have his debit card. All of a sudden, you ain't got your debit card. He reportedly could not provide proof of having that amount of money in his bank account, so they must have said, well, pull out your phone and prove to us that it's in your bank account, and he couldn't prove that. So he refused to pay the bill after they gave him multiple options. Look, we take Venmo, we take PayPal. Right. He says, well, I ain't got none of that. So in his bag, he only had $6 in his driver's license. Well, guess where he was booked?
Not the Waffle House.
Pinellas County.
Pinellas County. Yeah, Pinellas gets some
Only in Pinellas County you're going to get a Waffle House tattoo,
right?
baby.
That is,
and not pay for
a whole different level. Dine and dash on your Waffle House.
That's right.
And that is crazy.
Now, the next day he was released on a $150 bond,
That's probably how much the tattoo costs.
It made me think about the crazy tattoos that people get and stuff. And Miss Yolanda, she's got a great tattoo,
Right,
so
like,
hers ain't crazy at all.
I'm gonna get one of those one day.
Yeah. But have you in all your time of living on this earth ever seen a crazy tattoo? I got a good story for you if you ain't.
Good.
What about you, Mike? Any crazy tattoo other than the War and Peace?
My oldest son has a rather crazy one that was a result of a fraternity stunt. That covers most of his ass. He's,
all right. His
wife and young daughter, I'm sure, are proud of.
Very good. Well, I'll tell you a quick little story about a tattoo. So I'm not going to name this individual, to protect the innocent, but an individual that I know that works in the medical industry had someone come in one day, and this particular person does mammograms. And so the lady comes in to get her mammogram, and this was at a prison that they were doing these mammograms, and she pulls off her shirt, and this person, swim, if you will, right. Or I don't know how you'd say it, but this person proceeds to do the mammogram, but she had an interesting tattoo, this particular prisoner, and it was of a penis. And it covered the entire front of her, from her belly to her breast. Oh my God. And then at the very end of it, it was as if it was ejaculating.
Oh my God, that's love.
How about that? When you
guys, it's not about love.
Some big Bruno got her to do it, but you know what?
I bet she paid for it, though.
No, maybe not. I mean, unless the Zuzus and Zing Zings, it probably was a prison tat.
Oh, right? Good point.
That's a big deal. Tattoo machines are illegal in prison. They make the homemade ones, and getting tattooed is self-defacing. That's a charge.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
What's the tattoo artist thinking as they're putting that one together?
I'm sure they've seen it all. We ought to have a tattoo artist in here one day to interview him.
Yeah, you're right.
Very good. Well, pay for your Waffle House tattoos, people.
I can't. What is this, like the sign of the Waffle House, or
it must have been the whole house,
scattered, chunked, and monked, or whatever.
No, it was probably the red and yellow building with Waffle House in the middle,
sitting in the booth, and the escapees from whatever the jail was.
Hey, I like a little Waffle House now.
Right, that time
scattered, smothered, chunk.
Anyway.
Wait, so you like the Waffle House?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Waffle House is good food.
Okay. I thought you guys ridiculed me for saying I wanted to try it.
No.
You never tried it.
We were shocked you never tried it. That was the ridicule.
No, I did. There was one that was like right around Vandy campus way back in the day, but I don't know if it was officially part of the chain.
Yeah, you're more of an IHOP or Cracker Barrel guy, Mike.
I know you guys love my Hollywood crime stories.
Oh, yeah. That's a fucking highlight of my day.
Well, you're a big Keanu Reeves fan. I know that.
Hey, the original Point Break, baby.
That was the best movie.
Utah.
Yes.
So
Johnny Utah. What a stud.
Johnny Utah over John Wick?
Oh, absolutely. All day long.
Absolutely.
And in The Matrix and all the other shit.
Yeah.
Johnny Utah.
Johnny Utah's my choice as well.
The closing scene when he finally catches him on that beach and when it's 1,000-year wave coming and he uncusses him and lets him go.
Patrick Swayze was pretty good in that one, too.
He's a stud, too.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Friends of mine produced the remake of that. I don't know if you guys even know there was a remake of it. It's kind of crazy. They spent a lot more money than they made, I think. But the original is the original. And I'm never going to outdo the original.
Gary Busey.
Keanu had his L.A. home burglarized on Wednesday night.
Yeah, where were you, Mike?
I was not in California, so I'm in the clear. Reeves, 59, was not at home at the time when multiple men wearing ski masks broke into his home, stole a firearm, and fled the scene before police arrived. At approximately 7 p.m., an anonymous tip about a possible intruder at Reeves' residence prompted the LAPD to respond. Despite a thorough search by officers, no signs of trespassers were discovered. However, at around 1 a.m., police received a report of an activated alarm at the premises. This time, security cameras captured individuals wearing ski masks, breaking through a window, and entering the house. Despite another thorough search by officers, no signs of the trespassers were discovered. The robbers stole one firearm before making a swift getaway, according to TMZ. It's weird that you'd get into...
How in the fuck does for no reason I have security alarms and shit on his house? You just sold them out to everybody. Now we're going to go rob him.
The security alarm went off at 1 a.m.
Okay, but so no videos?
The security cameras captured individuals wearing ski masks
I missed
through a window.
And
right. Yeah, so they got the people on camera, but by the time the police got there, nobody was there. Investigators are currently reviewing the footage from both Reeves' home and the surrounding neighborhood in search of additional clues. Police are specifically looking into is whether the first call to cops was made by someone who was scoping the house. Earlier this year, Reeves secured a temporary restraining order against a stalker who had supposedly showed up at his house. The actor who owns this $5.6 million, 5,600 square foot estate in the Hollywood Hills hired a security firm to investigate a guy by the name of Brian Dixon. Dixon, who's 39, kept turning up at Reeves' home. Security footage shows Dixon trespassing 6 times between November 5th of 22 and January of 23. Dixon allegedly entered through a side gate and fell asleep in the home's backyard on November 5th before eventually getting thrown out. The security footage shows Dixon peering over walls, smoking in the garden, walking along an outdoor terrace.
Awesome. Right?
Wait, listen to this. He then returned the next morning, leaving a suspicious and alarming backpack on the property. Inside of the backpack was a DNA testing kit.
What?
Apparently, Dixon intended to give Reeves a DNA test in his delusional attempt to prove that they were blood relatives. So this guy was convinced that he and Keanu were related. So I mean, I can't believe how many times his house has been broken into. The Reeves house was also the scene of back-to-back break-ins a couple of years ago. At the time, a female intruder reportedly wandered into the Reeves home, stripped her clothes off, and jumped into his pool.
All right. Welcome aboard.
He was later granted a restraining order to keep her away from him and his property. Authorities arrived at the property and escorted the woman away. Just 2 days before that, Reeves had confronted another woman who he found in the house. She had wandered into Reeves' estate after the cleaning company had left the front gate open. Hopefully you fired that cleaning company, Keanu. When confronted by the star, the woman told him she had come to meet him. Right. After calmly reacting to the situation, he called the police and they took her into custody. So, question, I mean, if you could break into any star's home and you were guaranteed not to get caught, whose home would you break into?
Wait, before we get into that, though, before we get into that, I just want to say that me and Woody deal with this all the time. People jumping our gates. Right. We love it. We love our fans.
We love our lifers.
We embrace them. They get naked and run through the yards, whatever. That's it.
Try to tackle them.
Okay. So in the yards, okay. What about when your rabid fans break into your home?
Hey. That's another question.
Yeah, that's another question.
That's a circus.
But back to your original question, Britney Spears.
I was going to say Carrie Underwood just for the legs.
Britney Spears just because she's.
Yeah.
Oh, she's fine.
Hey,
Britney Spears is fine.
What,
she's
dude?
Local, right?
Are you nuts?
She's Kentwood, Louisiana girl.
I know she is. They're trying to sell that family house right now, but
she's purty.
Wow. I think you got to get on the gram and check out some of Britney's latest work.
I checked it
but
out.
I tell you what, when she was
a little bit scary.
When she was young and famous, 18 obviously, swim, back before they started recording stuff, when you run driver's license, swim pulled up her shit. Just to get that. 18-year-old driver's license, yeah, she was hot.
When I first moved out there, I had a little thing for Jennifer Love Hewitt. Remember her?
I remember her. Jennifer Aniston would be another one.
She lived in my
Jennifer
she lived in my neighborhood.
Now that we're talking about Jennifer's.
No, but Jennifer Love Hewitt lived in my neighborhood, so I knew the house. Her mother lived right across the street.
You had evil thoughts.
Miss Jerry would prevent those evil thoughts. Super Cops.
Little Super Cop time. All right, we are bringing you another episode of Super Cops, and a police officer crawled across a frozen lake to rescue 2 fishermen and a dog.
Wow.
So we're going to shout him out. Body camera footage showed Deputy Chris Feld crawling across the ice to rescue the 3. The heroic deputy was able to rescue 2 men and a dog using a rope which was tied around his waist. The men were fishing on a lake in Minnesota on December 5th when they fell through the ice. Feld and Deputy Kurt Granby were first on the scene and decided they couldn't wait for backup. The sheriff's office, Marine unit equipment, and resources were on their way, but they could not get there immediately. As such, Feld decided to go out to rescue the men and their pet, who had become hypothermic by this time. Both men, the dog and Deputy Feld, were able to make it safely to shore, and the men were transported to a nearby hospital. And the sheriff's office said, noticing the males were showing signs of hypothermia, Deputy Feld made the decision to begin the rescue before the sheriff's office, Marine unit, and equipment could arrive. With the support from other responders on the scene, both males, the dog and the deputy, were able to get off the water. We are thankful all are okay, and Deputy Feld's selfless action to help others in need. He's our super cop for today. Look, man, that's no joke. You got 3 people broke through ice, and you're creeping out there.
That's a bad deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you break through the ice, you only got minutes anyway, but especially if it's moving water underneath, it sweeps you underneath the ice, and you can't break out, right?
That's right.
Super cop.
Right. So he is
Minnesota, December 5th. That's a little shocking that it wouldn't be frozen thick there.
Yeah, I thought that too. It must have just been a soft spot. I mean, even in,
It might have been like a
worse of
warm
conditions,
spring
you could
or
have
something.
spring or something.
I grew up on so we called it a creek. It was a canal, but in the bad winters, it would freeze over, and a bunch of us would get together and play hockey on it. But people had docks along the canal, and they would all have bubble systems to make sure that the water immediately around their poles of their dock didn't get frozen, so that it didn't get lifted with the tide, right? Right. So whenever somebody shot a puck wildly and it went over near somebody's dock, you had to approach, quietly and try to not disturb it. And I had a couple of times over the years where I went in, but you're at the point where it's 3 or 4 feet deep right there. So it's more a matter of just
still cause a lot
freezing your ass off in the
a lot of shrinkage.
Ice cold water. Yeah, my tattoo only said B that day when I got out. But yeah.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And y'all.
Oh, I can tell how excited Woody is.
Wednesday.
He's cradling his phone carefully.
You're gonna shit yourselves. Okay, so look, we most of the time the kinky crimes are kind of funny and all that, but we talk about these different fetishes and stuff. So I'm looking at it yesterday. I'm like, I want to know, because I know the FBI's got everything possible, imagine, labeled as a fetish. So what I wanted to do today, I'm going to read you a couple of terms. I'm going to mess some of them up because they're crazy. Then I'm going to tell you what the fetish is, the name of the fetish, and then what it actually
Are we guessing, or you're just
no? Don't guess because you'll never get it. The first one is spelled ANILLIAGNIA, Analagina, right? You know what? It's a fetish. You know what that one is?
What?
It's attraction by young men to older women. So it's basically people like cougars. All right, that one's not bad. So the next one is anthropophagalagina. You know what that one is?
What?
The raping and then cannibalizing of another person.
Oh my God!
Right? This is shit people get off to. These are fetishes, sexual fetishes. The next one is ANTHROPOPHAGY. You know what that one is?
What?
The ingesting of human flesh while they're masturbating. Right? Ugh. All right. This one is fucking really twisted. Apotomonophilia. You know what that is? You fantasize about being an amputee.
Oh my God.
Right? All right. So
being one or being with one?
No. You fantasize about cutting your own shit off and you masturbate to it.
Wow.
Aquaphilia. Well, this one is a sexual fetish that involves people swimming, posing, or even drowning in water.
Drowning?
Yeah. They beat off this.
I thought that was going to be about sex with a fish.
Let me tell you, before you go any further, that seems all crazy, but you know, there's people out there that like to get choked and stuff.
Wait. Which brings us alphabetical order. Asphyxophilia, which I'm very familiar with because I've worked these cases, and that is the act of being asphyxiated or strangled.
Look, that's a big deal.
And so the cases I've worked, the people that do it when they're masturbating, and they have these choke systems with safety releases, and I find them in the closets hung. And what would happen is they masturbate right when they get to the point of orgasm, they choke themselves out to the black out and makes the orgasm like 100 times harder. But so many
How
times,
do they know if they're passed out?
So many times people would call me in and they'd be, their family members hanging in a closet and they think it's suicide. Well, it's not suicide when you got the porn mag on the bottom. And I've seen this a bunch of times before. Now I'll just give y'all a couple more quick ones, right? This one is fucking just crazy. I mean, and it's just called attraction to disability. And it's people with one or more physical disabilities. So that's people who are actually attracted to people who are like in wheelchairs and shit. And that's crazy. Two more, and then we'll end it for today. This is got to be Mike's jam. Autogonostophilia. You know what that is?
Attraction to cars.
No. You fantasize and masturbate to being on stage or camera.
He has that. We need to learn a proper pronunciation.
And one last one, we'll go back to the super cop, and I don't think he has this. Autoacinophilia, which is you masturbate to being in life-threatening situations.
God, those were all A's. You only got through one letter?
Look, I didn't get through one letter. There's like 100 more A's. So I'm going to bring you some of these in the future because they are just, they're funny, obviously. Some of them are just so sick.
Yeah.
But that is kinky crimes. How they came up with them.
The bizarre ones there, bro.
Right? Shit, you never
crazy.
Know.
Give me some banjos, Jim.
Banjo time.
Well, we have searched far and wide during the course of our first year to find dumb criminals.
True. And
I believe today we have found the dumbest dumb criminal.
We got to come up with a head list for dumb criminals. The all-star team.
The dumbest dumb criminal of all. A North Carolina man named Forrest Fuller had successfully used his 1924 printing press to produce real enough looking bills to pass for currency at some local establishments.
All right.
He'd passed 10s, 20s, and even some 50s sporadically over time. This day would be different. He was going to go for the big score today. Forrest's confidence was high as he entered a Walmart store in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Investigators told the Winston-Salem Journal that 53-year-old Forrest Fuller tried to buy a vacuum cleaner, a microwave oven, and several other items. When the Walmart cashier ran up his purchases, the total came to $476.46. Fuller calmly presented the cashier with a bill, a single $1 million bill.
Oh, my God.
That's right. Fuller decided, what the fuck, and went for it, creating a $1 million forgery bill.
No way.
The cashier presumed it was a joke and laughed at him. but soon realized that Forrest was serious.
Oh, my God.
And when he insisted the bill was real and aggressively requested his change, the cashier called out to her manager for assistance. Store employees tried to reason with Forrest, were unable to, and called police after his insistence that the bill was legitimate. Fuller was arrested. Fuller was charged with attempting to obtain property by false pretense and uttering a forged instrument. But in a rather unique twist to this case, the forgery charges were later dropped by prosecutors. Apparently, Davidson County, this is where we are in North Carolina, prosecutors voluntarily dismissed the charges against Forrest Fuller of attempting to obtain property by false pretense and using a forged instrument. The reason they dropped the charges is that you can't create a forgery of something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Since there's no such thing as $1 million bill, it's not impossible to create a forgery of one. Assistant DA Greg Brown wrote in court documents that he was dismissing the charges in the interest of justice. In order to appoint a certified forensic evaluator for Fuller was sealed, according to court documents. Those involved declined further comment, but Fuller was fined for some misdemeanor charges.
Banned from Walmart forever.
Despite his good fortune, I think you'll all agree this guy deserves some major banters.
Can I get my change, please?
I insist.
I want it in pennies.
Of 999,000 whatever.
Yeah, people don't realize.
And they should have that.
What is the largest bill? 1,000?
5,000.
Now it's 100.
Well,
still in circulation is
$100,000 bill?
No, $100 bill is the largest bill in current circulation.
That's true. But
They used to make it 10,000.
That's correct. They made it 10,000. I have a $5,000 bill.
Do you really? Mm-hmm. Shouldn't tell people that. It'd be like Reeves' house.
I don't have it here.
Shit. And it's not at your house either.
It's not in my house either.
Who's on the $5,000?
I think it's
Woody Overton.
See his face. God, that's a good question, Mike. I can't remember.
Apollo Creed.
Yeah, Apollo Creed. Yeah.
I wonder who's on the 10,000. We should look that up. But they they stopped making those like a long time ago. And $10,000 back at the time that they were making a $10,000 bill was worth like over $100,000.
Let me tell you who's on both of them.
Okay, you got it.
Someone who's never been inside my kitchen.
Okay.
That's true.
That eliminates a lot of people. Jim's coming up with it. Who's on that 5K?
Secretary of Treasury Salmon P. Chase.
Oh, maybe
what?
Chase
was Lincoln's Secretary of the Treasury.
Chase Manhattan Bank?
That's bullshit. Get that guy out of there. I mean, you got to have somebody.
There he is.
He must.
Apollo Creed would have been far more appropriate.
And actually, they did make a $100,000 bill.
And who was on that?
Someone who's never Woodrow Wilson.
That's by my namesake. There you go.
My grandfather's
Clubber Lang was on the
Woodrow
10,000.
Wilson.
How about that? My great-great-grandfather, before they had Secret Service, bodyguarded him when he came to Louisiana to play poker.
So there you go. But you're right, not in circulation any longer. $500 bills are hard to come by. Very hard to come by.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's still
people still use
legal tender though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's out of circulation, it's out of circulation.
A $10,000 bill is still legal tender.
Yeah.
You know, but if you look, I will give someone $10,000 for a $10,000 bill.
That's pretty
right
big
now.
of you.
No problem. No problem, because it's worth about $50,000.
Well,
so yeah,
very, very interesting. I don't know. Love it. I think it was a great show. But
all right. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. Again, I got to keep saying this, y'all, because the podcast industry is what it is, and unfortunately, it's a business. Y'all make sure you are still subscribed to Real Life Real Crime Original, Real Life Real Crime Daily, wherever you can listen to a podcast, Bloody Angola, because they did some more winky bullshit, and you may not be getting your automatic downloads. So hit that button.
That's the official industry description too.
Right. Winky bullshit.
Yeah.
So
that's
like
what they should call it.
Be on the lookout for winky bullshit.
And we love y'all.
That's right. Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Mike Agovino.
Your host of Real Life Real Crime Daily. Peace.
Congrats.